just come here not long time. So what is your planning? Because Bangladesh and India has a close and friendly relation for long time. So what is your actually planning in Bangladesh? The relation to forward that.
So basically, I think we need to step up our partnership on one basis and two directions. One basis of 71. The spirit of 71, the policies and the approach laid down by Jatir Pita Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, his approach to the world in general, and his approach to India. So that is the foundation of our partnership, the vision of Bangladesh that Bangabandhu put forward, and the direction, therefore, that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been leading the country. So that's the basis of our relationship. On that basis, we want to develop a partnership that is an all-encompassing partnership. We want to do more together in trade, in partnering Bangladesh's development, in Bangladesh's economic success, in people-to-people ties, but also in futuristic areas, IT, technology, issues that involve the youth. Because the future leaders of Bangladesh and the future leaders of India must be partners the way the 1971 generation were partners. So that will then make our relationship, and that's the third point, irreversible. That is the direction I want to take the relationship.
So your Foreign Secretary, Mr. Harshavardhan Shringla, recently visited Bangladesh, and he conveyed the Prime Minister Modi's message to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Actually, what are the directions regarding the cooperation in fighting the COVID-19 this time and also the post-COVID recovery?
So on the COVID situation, what we wanted to convey is that both from the public health standpoint and from the standpoint of India-Bangladesh ties, this is very, very important for us to cooperate. So we are cooperating in medicine, to manage the COVID pandemic, testing kits, whatever Bangladesh wishes to cooperate with us, we are happy to do. In capacity building to ensure that India and Bangladesh can develop capacities to increase, capacity to deliver vaccines, cold chain for the vaccines, training, best practices both sides, and third, for the vaccine itself, for product supply, delivery, and even later co-production of vaccines. So not just Serum Institute, we are willing to do more in other areas of vaccine delivery also, other opportunities. For simple reason that we can't get the disease away from either country without getting it out in the other country also. There is no COVID-free India without COVID-free neighbors for us.
So, when we can expect the Serum Institute vaccine?
Look, hopefully soon. Your own regulatory process is underway. Your government has to clear the vaccine formally for use in Bangladesh. That is your own legal process, so we respect that. We are also doing our own legal processes. So the production part is the easy part. Vaccine will soon be ready for delivery, but the legal system must be prepared for it. And then the delivery system must be prepared. You must, to deliver 30 million vaccines, you'll need a lot of trained specialists to deliver it. You'll need cold chain. You'll need, assessing capacity to make sure that everybody who gets the vaccine is okay. So your government is best placed to identify. But as soon as, from our side, I'm reasonably confident that as soon as the vaccine is ready, we're happy to ensure that whatever the contract is, it will be followed.
And the next question is about the recently two Prime Minister talk virtually, and we are expecting the Prime Minister Modi will visit Bangladesh in the March next year, and regarding the cooperation about the contribution of 1971. What are the elaborate programs you are taking during the one-year program for Bangladesh-India relations and also?
So we've we're working on this together. We have made it clear that we want to work with whatever Bangladesh is comfortable. Obviously, it is a shared celebration, but it is first and foremost an important occasion of Bangladesh's history. So we will follow your lead. Some things we'll do in India on our own, but some things we'd love to do together. There we will follow your lead. But some things are already agreed. So we will be doing a special digital exhibition on the life of both Mahatma Gandhi and Bangabandhu, tracing their history, their contribution, how they became father of the nation of each country. We are hoping to do more commemorative activities, including special events, the film on Bangabandhu that Shyam Benegal is preparing. So all of this will happen during the coming year. As for the rest, we will sit with your side and see what more we can do, including joint events in other countries. From our side, whatever you wish us to do, we have it.
And with facing the enormous development challenges, including the eradication of poverty and the sustaining progress of our economic development, addressing these challenges, we certainly call for greater trade, investment flow, transfer of technology, sharing of experience, and skill development. How do you think our two countries can cooperate in these critical areas?
Well, let me give you an example. Since in the last 2.5 months that I've been here, we've already done 2 big virtual business events. One on shipbuilding, partnership in shipbuilding and in defense production, and one on agriculture, value addition and food processing, and agribusiness machinery, with ministerial level participation in both. We think that the future shouldn't just be about trade, but should also be about joint ventures, joint production of, leveraging Bangladesh's rapidly rising economic standing, Bangladesh's value proposition for investment, so that India-Bangladesh economic ties can grow on another level. So we're looking ahead. We'd like to do more events on infrastructure, on the automobile industry, on garments and textiles, and even on transport and logistics. So in the next 4 or 5 months, we'd like to do a lot more on business.
There's a lot of concern about the border killing. Every meeting in the foreign secretary level or the border guard level expressing concern. It is regulating situation. It's not improving, despite the commitment for zero numbers to be reduced to zero.
So the main thing that, as I said also on the TV, is that we really need to work to reduce the, movement of people going across the border late at night on both sides. Sort of, this is a problem on both sides where they're cooperating in illicit activity, people on both sides. We need, therefore, for both border guarding agencies and the local district administrations to encourage people to recognize that this is a dangerous thing that's going on. The problem has to be tackled at its root. So if you see there is a rising trend of the number of cases of fence breaches, illicit economic activity, that has to be curbed, because people are getting more desperate when they do these illicit activities on both sides, and it leads to clashes with the border forces, and the forces is then firing in self-defense. We would like to have 0 cases, but for 0 cases to happen, we have to have a crime-free border, and that crime-free border can only be created if the border forces on both sides cooperate. That must happen. It must happen much more. They're friendly, they're exchanging goodwill all the time, but on the ground coordination is very, very important. So sharing intelligence, joint patrolling at night. If we can do this, we can stop border incidents.
There is a dissatisfaction over the implementation of LOC. That implementation process is very slow.
So we are equally dissatisfied with that. As far as we are concerned, see, a number of projects were originally put forward without your own processes having been done. Now, thanks to the ERD's, active and, effective leadership, the process has been speeded up a lot. But until projects are, brought beyond the DPP stage, we can't fund something. We can only fund something when the project is actually ready. In a sense, a lot of projects were identified, but not prepared. So, funds can't flow till the project is actually ready for execution. Now that is hardly our fault. We can only give the money at the point when the project is ready to be implemented. Indeed, in some projects where, for instance, the change has been required for various technical reasons, like in the Khulna-Mongla railway line, some railway track routing had to be changed for a variety of reasons, complicated to get into here. We've been waiting for a year to be cleared. So that's a long time. Now, we understand. And in fact, we share that frustration. We want these things to go faster. So actually, we seek help in moving the projects from announcement stage to actual delivery. But, so now the new mechanism is being put together under the...
New mechanism means whether the conditions are reducing or the 85%.
Ours is not 85, ours is 75.
75, sorry,
Yeah.
75%.
Ours is less than most other partners, I should point out. The rate is lower, the tenor is longer, and the tide element is less. We have also indicated flexibility that if for specific projects we can reduce even further for Indian content, as the Bangladesh side may ask. So, that is doable. So this is not the reason why the projects are not progressing. Projects are not progressing because your own process has to bring it to the stage where it's ready to be funded. And we're ready to do that as soon as it's done. So the new process essentially involves ERD secretary, myself, and people on both sides to sit together. We're sitting together in early January to actually expedite projects now. So we look forward to actually now trying to push this forward in the celebration year next year.
And another thing is what in Bangladesh there are a lot of discussion about the internal political process in India, enacting the Citizens Amendment Act, CAA, or National Registration of Citizens, NRC in Assam has impact on Bangladesh's politics. So there is anxiety over the political level.
But I think that is
the sensitivity.
It is unwarranted because the concern is not warranted. We have repeatedly said that these are, domestic matters in India, which essentially means that these are matters that we will deal with within our country without impacting upon our friendly neighbors. We have repeatedly said that these are issues that will be addressed within the four corners of our constitution. We have an active and very independent judiciary. We have an active and very vocal press. So nobody's rights, even for citizens of India or even people legitimately living in India, will be abridged in any form. So there is no reason for our friends in Bangladesh to worry. We will not create problems for you.
Okay, thank you very much. About the visa facilities in Bangladesh, there are any plan to increase people-to-people cooperation? And despite there is a visa center in the Jamuna Future Park, but people expectation is more. So
we're willing to do more. Let this pandemic get behind us. We'd love to step up our visa operation even more here. You are already our biggest visa operation in the world, by far, more than the US, more than the UK, more than anywhere else. And we would love to be able to do more because I think this is the best way of cementing our friendship, to have more people go across. But I think first of all, let the pandemic reduce.
regarding the sharing of the water resources, particularly the Teesta water sharing agreement is a long pending because of the White Bengal objection in 2011. The Manmohan Singh was supposed to do this, signing this agreement. But
So you can see at the
Is
union
there
government
any-
level, whether it is the Congress or the BJP, both sides agree that we have to share this water. So there's a bipartisan consensus on water sharing. The issue is that constitutionally, as I've been trying to explain, river water is a state subject. So the union government cannot just sign a paper and say, done. It can't be done that way. We have to bring all stakeholders, which include state governments, on board. But we, as you've seen in '96, that was what was done in the Teesta, the Ganga
Ganges,
case.
right.
So we should keep pressing to try and resolve this issue, and we should work on the other rivers also, because there's a lot of other river waters to be
54.
addressed. 54. I mean, at this pace, if you do one by one only, it'll take forever. So better to work together on as many rivers as possible, so that people in Bangladesh are reassured that India genuinely does intend to share water. What else will we do? I mean, we have to share water.
And the Rohingya issues, India is always supporting, but now you are the non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. So how you are going to cooperate Bangladesh to repatriation, safe repatriation, the Rohingyas?
Our approach is that the Rohingya issue must be solved swiftly, speedily, and securely, and sustainably. So people must go back in a manner that ensures their human dignity, and that they can stay there where they came from in Rakhine State, and not have to come again to Bangladesh for whatever reason. So that's the primary objective, and our goal is on reaching that objective. So we will work primarily with that goal in mind. So we will work as we've been doing bilaterally with Myanmar, with Bangladesh, in whatever way you want us to do in Bangladesh. In Myanmar, we have our own set of projects to facilitate the socio-economic environmental improvement for people to go back. So this we are committed to do. Our primary focus is that the problem has to be resolved here. Can't be resolved anywhere else.
Not in UN Security Council?
Well, Security Council, you know as well as I do that the Security Council can't solve this problem.
Right.
You don't need me to explain that.
Some steps to reduce the trust in the political level and the trade gap for non-trade barriers, and do you think there are barriers a lot from the business level?
Look, there are trade issues, but I wouldn't say these are non-tariff barriers. I have repeatedly said this before. There is no policy measure that is actually disadvantaging Bangladeshi businesses. And I have repeatedly welcomed businesses to come and talk to us about their specific problems. Because on both sides there are problems. I mean, you may not know this, but a number of Indian businesses have major issues, both with exports and legitimate trade here also. So we want to be able to address these issues. But some of these issues require the regulatory entities on both sides to cooperate. Now, this is not happening fast enough. So regulatory structures currently, how should I explain this? The regulatory structures date to 5 years ago, and the trade is much more advanced. So the regulatory structures have to catch up. This we need to do, and on both sides. So there is important work that must be done, and it must be done soon, because the business is, rightly speaking, impatient. But there is no policy measures that are intended to disadvantage Bangladesh business.
So you are doing many things on the connectivity issues. You are connecting the railway and the road and the river, even the sea.
Yes.
So what do you think that those are the impact on the both countries?
Look, let me be clear here about this. Some people in Bangladesh sometimes fear that this is only benefit for India. Actually, that is completely wrong. The biggest beneficiary of this is Bangladesh. Of course we benefit. I mean, we wouldn't do it if we didn't benefit. But whose trucks will we use if we bring goods to Chittagong? We will use Bangladesh trucks. Whose insurance companies will be insuring goods? Bangladesh companies. Whose container terminals will we use? Bangladesh container terminals. Whose road system will collect tolls? Bangladesh's road system. If goods transit becomes easier, whose logistic companies will make money? Bangladesh companies will make money. So essentially, somebody asked me, will this be equal benefit? I said, no, it won't be equal benefit. It will be unequal benefit favoring Bangladesh. You will benefit more. So we should not ask for equality on this. Equality means you will get very little. You should ask for a bigger share because it is yours for taking. You must take more out of this because logistics benefits you. Look at history. The whole sub-region, undivided Bengal was the route through which all the trade went from the entire east. From Bihar, from North Bengal, today's Assam and the northeastern states. It all came through here, through Chattogram, Mongla and Kolkata. Why wouldn't you want this to happen?
What is the next road or railway connectivity you are going to
I hope Kora Agartala should be done sometime in the course of 2021. It's long overdue. We've lost a few months on this. I would also hope to see Shahbazpur Kulaura being completed. But we also need to strengthen trade infrastructure on the railways, particularly Petropol Benapol, Gede Dharshana, Radhikapur Birol, where we need more sidings to be created, where the train can come off on the sidings. Offloading can be faster. We need to develop ICDs, that is container depots. All of this is a lot of work to be done. So we must get down to that work. The principle is already established. It is in both countries' interests to do this. But I believe fundamentally in Bangladesh's interest.
And the final words about the regional cooperation and the sub-regional cooperation, including the hydropower in Nepal or Bhutan.
This is the future. If we develop good power markets in the region, this will benefit everybody in three ways. One, economics. It means electric power will become cheaper. Two, environment. We can use cleaner power solutions, hydroelectric power, and we can also create a regional market in which the best quality power is transmitted on the basis of whatever the best price is in the entire 5-6 countries of our sub-region. And third, in technical reasons also, because the bigger the grid, the stronger it will be. So it will be good for Bangladesh, it will be good for India, it will be good for Nepal, it will be good for Bhutan, and Myanmar eventually in the future. So this is the future. So we must work towards this future. For that we need to develop the legal infrastructure, which we are doing also in India. We've got new guidelines for this. We also need to develop more transmission capacity. Right now we don't have enough transmission capacity. We need to do more of that.
So what is the final words about the Bangladesh? You just came out. What is the impression? You are a super active.
Look,
you are going and you have the relationship in Chittagong historical. So this is the final question. What is your future?
This country will be the future of the region. It is an economic miracle waiting to happen. It's already developing. The speed at which Bangladesh is changing is fantastic. So it is a delight to be here in Bangladesh and to be part of the process of seeing how 170 odd million people, more than 170 million people are rising towards prosperity. In this, if India and Bangladesh can be together as this happens, we will change the history of our region.
Thank you very much for
Thank you.
coming.